Alrighty, let's talk a little bit about exponents and order of operations. So really most of this will be order of operations. Briefly, we're talking about exponents really just on this one slide here. When you're dealing with exponents, you're going to see like a number here. Sometimes it'll even be a letter, a variable later on. But for right now, it's just a number. And this right here is being your exponent. This is the base. This up here is your exponent. And the base is getting multiplied by itself this many times. That's what an exponent does. A 4 squared means that you're going to take that base, which is a 4, and you're going to multiply it times itself. So you're going to multiply it times 4 2 times because the exponent is 2. So 4 times 4 is 16, which means 4 squared is 16. When you see a 2 cubed, that's really a 2 times a 2 times a 2. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then a 4 times a 2 is an 8. So 2 cubed is equal to 8. If you see an exponent of 1, so that means this base of 17 is really just multiplied just once. It's just there. 17 to the first power is really just a 17. You're not really even taking it times itself any times. It's just 17. Here's a weird one. 1 to the 50th. Kind of scary looking. Let me just do a few. What if you had a 1 times a 1? That'd be like a 1 squared. But what is 1 times 1? Just 1. But what if you took it times another 1? Still 1. Take it times another 1, times another 1, times another. It doesn't matter that I put a 50 here. 1 to any power is just going to equal 1. And then this last one, also a quirky one, it's a 23 to the 0 power. That means you're taking 23 0 times. You're not even doing like we did over here on the 17 where we just had it once. We don't have it there at all. That's hard to comprehend because the answer is not really 0 like you might think it is. By definition, anything to the 0 power is always equal to 1. Always. So if I had a 4 to the 0, that would equal 1. 15 to the 0 still equals 1. So don't overcomplicate that. If you see a 0 power, automatic answer, 1. Okay, then I found a question like this, like this one. It says, write the following integer as a base and an exponent without using an exponent of 1. So it might be tempting to call this, oh, that's just 100 to the first power. Well, that's true, but that's not what they're wanting. They want us to think through this number 100 a little deeper and think about what could that be written as, a power of 2 or a power of 3 of some sort. And so you do need to kind of recognize, like up here, 16, that is called a perfect square because it comes from 4 squared. And so if you think of all your perfect squares, well, 100 is actually a perfect square. You can take 10 squared and get 100. And so when they want you to write the integer as a base and an exponent, 10 is our base, 2 is our exponent. That equals 100. All right, so looking at order of operations, you probably remember the phrase, or at least at this point, if you're watching my video, know of PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. PEMDAS is, and it can be anything. There's all kinds of little acronyms. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Different ways of remembering that order of operations. Now, one caveat that you got to remember, though, is that the M and the D fall at the same level. So you do multiplication and division, and you always do them left to right throughout the problem, left to right. And same thing when you get to the level of addition and subtraction. Addition does not happen before subtraction. You will always do those left to right. Okay, so let's just look at this. I'm going to start off with some basic ones, and it's going to get gradually and gradually harder here. So on this first one, I don't see parentheses, and I'm just going down my list here. I don't see parentheses, and I don't see exponents. but I do see multiplication and division, so I'm going to do those left to right. I would recommend you don't get in a hurry of trying to do too much in one step. I'm going to just do one step every line. So the first thing I do when I see this division right here. That's the first thing from left to right. So it's a 5 minus, and 8 divided by 4 is 2 times 2. Okay, now I still see multiplication, so I'm going to do it next. So it's going to be 5 minus 4, doing that multiplication piece. And now your last step is to do that subtraction. 5 minus 4 is a 1. Okay, let's try this next one. Again, going down my list, there are no parentheses and there are no exponents, but I do see multiplication and division, so I'm going to do that left to right. So there's a 16 plus 27 divided by 9. Sorry, pen died on me there. Okay, and then I still see the division, so I will do that next. So 16 plus, and the 27 divided by 9 gets you a 3, and the only thing left is the addition. 16 plus 3 is 19. All right, so now on this one, I do see the parentheses. They're happening right here. So that means I'm going to complete whatever work is inside of those parentheses first. So that means I'm going to go ahead and leave everything else there, 6 times 2 plus, and then I'm going to do 7 plus 3, which is going to get me a 10. And then that 10 is getting squared, which would be the next thing because exponents come next. Now, I did leave that in parentheses, though you wouldn't have to, because maybe what you did instead is just say, oh, well, that's 10 squared, because those parentheses really could be gone at that stage because I did the computation on those. All right, so now I'm going to do the exponents, which gets me a 100. 10 squared is 100. And now I'm to the level of multiplication and division. I do see multiplication right here. And then I just did that addition piece, 112 for my final answer on that. Okay, let's take a look at this next one. Now you can see kind of they did what I did. They put this 3 in parentheses to show that exponent, but really there's no operation going inside of there. So it's not like the parentheses where I need to do something inside them like I did over here. And so those parentheses are optional in the same way they were around my 10 earlier. So then what I do see though is this 6 plus 3 that's in parentheses. Now that I want to go ahead and work with. So I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to have 9 plus, and just to alleviate any confusion, I'm even going to ditch the parentheses on the 3 here. Divided by, and now I'm doing 6 plus 3 is 9. And then a times 2. All right, so parentheses are gone. I'm ready to do the exponents, which is the 3 squared. So I can do 9 plus 3 squared is 9. All right. And now I'm to the level of multiplication and division, and I do those left to right. So left to right, the first thing I see is this division. So 9 plus 9 divided by 9 is 1, and then times 2. And then I do that multiplication is the next thing, and 1 times 2 is just 2, and 9 plus 2 is 11. I really believe that if you do one operation each step, you don't make silly mistakes. Okay, you can see I'm getting fancier here. A lot more stuff happening, and you just got to work through it step by step, looking for parentheses. I've got 2 sets. I've had a set here that I could add the 10 and the 4, and I have a set here where I could add the 3 and the 1. So I'm going to do both of those. I just going against what I just said there. 10 plus 4 is 14 squared divided by, because these are totally separate from one another, I feel like I'm okay to go ahead and do the parentheses all in one step. Next thing I'm looking for are my exponents. Okay, so a 14 squared. All right, that's getting a little bit bigger. Do you know what 14 squared is? All right, if you don't know 14 squared, let's do a little side note over here of multiplying 14 times 14. So 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. And then you scoot over, leave a blank here, and then you do the 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, and then we add these up. Okay, so a little side note tells me that 14 squared is 196. So 196 divided by 4. Okay, do you know that off the top of your head? Maybe not, but in lesson 1-4 we did long division, so we can go over here, a little side note again. I'm going to take my 196 and I'm going to divide it by 4. So 4 goes into 19 4 times. So put your 4 above the 9, keep those lined up. So 4 times 4 is 16, and subtract. That gets me a 3. Bring down the 6, and then you do it one more time. 4 goes into 36 evenly at 49. There's not going to be a remainder there because that actually equals 36. So 49 is what my final answer is going to be here. Okay, so they do kind of make you use some of that previous knowledge to work through some of these, especially when you start doing exponents and getting numbers bigger like that. All right, let's try this next one, getting even crazier. I got lots of stuff going on. Now, I see parentheses, but I also see brackets. And really, when they say parentheses, they kind of mean any kind of grouping symbols. And when you do your parentheses and you see multiples, now when I say multiples, there's two different ways. You could see multiples like this, where they're totally separate from one another. Or you can see it like this, where they're nested inside of each other. If they are nested like that, then you want to work inner to outer. So in that, what that means is I'm going to work on those parentheses, inside those parentheses first, and then work out towards the brackets that are there. So inside the parentheses, I see a 9 times 2 plus 2. I have to do that multiplication first. So I'm going to leave everything else alone for now, plus, and then I'm going to have that 9 times 2 is 18. Now you might have been able, or if you're starting to feel more comfortable, you might have been able to do a couple steps there. 18 plus 2 is 20. Do you feel like you could have done 9 times 2 and then plus 2 all in one shot? Now, at that stage, once I've evaluated inside those parentheses, I'm going to let go of the parentheses. I'm not going to write them anymore. Okay, I'm writing all the other stuff, all crazy out of order. I don't know why I'm doing that, but okay. So now I'm ready. It says parentheses, also means brackets. So now I'm ready to do these brackets, 4 plus 20. So I have 8 minus 24 divided by 4. I'm ready to do the multiplication and division step. And I see division, so I have 8 minus, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then 8 minus 6 is 2. All right, so that's about as messy as I can get it. Not really. I made one even messier for you. Okay, so this one, I do want you to pause the video. I want you to see if you can do this one all on your own. Once you've worked it out on paper, come on back and see if you did it correctly. All right, go ahead and pause the video. All right, so I got a 13. If you also got 13, great, you're good to go. If you didn't, take a moment and look through my work here and see where you might have gone astray. All right, hope all these examples help so that you can jump in, get very familiar with your order of operations, knowing that these two are at the same level left to right, these two are at the same level left to right, and parentheses, if they're nested, do them inner to outer. All right, good luck.